Hello and welcome. If this toy looks familiar to you, it's because I have done this video once already, but some lovely person pointed out to me that the angles on one of my videos was a little funny, and then when I went back and I looked, my first little batch of videos were all filmed sideways. So I'm just going to redo them for you, so if you are trying to follow along with the tutorial, you won't have to lay on your side or tip your computer over or whatever you might have tried to do. So we're going to do our little witch hat here. The things you'll need to make this witch hat would be worsted weight yarn, whatever color you like your hat to be, some polyfill stuffing. Optional, you could have some catnip in there. We want a 4mm crochet hook, some yarn needles, and scissors. And if you'd like to follow along with a written pattern, there is a collection of cat toy patterns available on Amazon and Kindle. You can find the link in my bio if you'd like. Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and get started making this little witchy cat toy. Working from the tippity top of the hat down, we're going to make a magic circle, crossing our long end of the yarn over the short. Coming through the front with the hook toward the back, we're going to pull up 2 loops. And there's our magic circle. And we're working down whichever side you have your loop and your tail on. So if you're a lefty, it's probably going to go the other way. We are going in, making 6 single crochets. So we're going into the big loop there, wrap our yarn around, pull it up, wrap, pull through both of those. When we get to the end, where we'll pull on our tail of our toy. If you happen to have a tail, don't pull on your actual tail. One more. Okay, so pulling the tail of that magic circle, that's going to close up that loop, and we will slip stitch to join. So we're going into the very first stitch we made, wrapping our yarn, pulling through that one, and then through that last stitch we made. So now we've got a complete circle here. We're going to chain 1, and we've got 1 single crochet in each stitch around, so we'll still just have 6. Going through the loops there, wrap our yarn, pull it up, wrap, pull through 2. Keep going. When you get to the end, we will slip stitch to join, and we'll chain 1, and then we've got our first increase round for round 3, so I will meet you there. We've got all 6 of those single crochets, but before we slip stitch round 2, actually I want to turn it inside out and take our tail onto our yarn needle and thread that on there. We're just going to tie a little knot before we get any farther, because we'll never be able to get back up here again. Going through just kind of 1 strand of that first round on the inside. We're pulling that tail nice and tight. Now you can put that off to the side and flip it right side out again. And going into that very first stitch of round 2. And we'll slip stitch, bringing everything back together. So our increase round, we're going from 6 stitches to 8. We are going to chain 1 to bring us up to height. We've got a plain single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then on that 3rd stitch, we've got an increase. So we're going in, and then we're going into that exact same spot to do the same thing, just another single crochet. So you're gonna do that one more time. We've got 2 single crochets, and then 2 single crochets in that last stitch here. That's going to bring us up to 8 single crochet. Round 4 is also going to be an increase round. So we're going to slip stitch that round together to close it up, chain 1, and then this one will be a little different again. We are going to do the first 7 as just plain single crochets. And when we get to that very last one, that's where our increase will come in. So working your way around when you've only got 1 left, that is where we are going to increase. So we're doing 2, and that final stitch, that's going to take us from 8 single crochet to 9. Round 5 is just 1 single crochet in each stitch. So just go ahead, work your way around 1 in each. We'll have 9 again, and I'll meet you back here for round 6. Round 6, we're going to go from 9 stitches to 12 stitches, so it's another increase round. we have a plain single crochet in the first 2 stitches, and this will be a repeating pattern until the end, and then that third one will get 2 single crochets worked into it. So we just did that crochet, and then we're going right back into that same spot. And again, 2 plain single crochets all by themselves, and then that increase. So you're gonna do that one more time. You'll slip stitch to join at the end. We'll chain 1, and then I'll meet you back for round 7. Round 7's got another increase here. We're going 1 single crochet in the first stitch and 2 in the next stitch. So again, it's a repeating pattern. We've got a single and then 2 in the next stitch. So that's going to take us from 12 stitches to 18 at the end. So keep going, keep repeating that 1 and then 2 until you're at the end. We'll slip stitch to join, we'll chain 1, and we'll meet back for the next round. Round 8 is just plain single crochets. The only difference here is that we're going to be working in the front loop only. That's going to leave our back loops open for when we go to close up the toy later. So if you look at the top, you got those little V's. We're grabbing just the front part of that V. And we'll wrap our yarn, pull through there, wrap, pull through those 2. So all the way around, just a single crochet in each stitch, making sure we're only grabbing the front loops. That's going to start to create our brim of our hat. Once you get to the end, we'll slip stitch to join, we'll chain 1, and then we'll keep going with the brim. I'll meet you back there. Okay, we've got the beginning of the brim going. For our next round, we've got 2 single crochet in every stitch all the way around. So it's going to take us from 18 stitches to 36. So we're just going into that very first one, working 1 single crochet, going back in to that same spot. So each stitch gets 2 new stitches worked into it. So we're repeating that all the way around to the end. When you get to the end, we're going to slip stitch to join, we're going to chain 1. And then for round 10, that last round is just a plain single crochet in each stitch. So at the end of both of these, you should end up with 36 stitches. And when you finish round 10, I will meet back up with you to tell you what to do with our tail and how to tie that off. And then we'll get to the underside to finish off our little hat. Okay, our brim is done. We're gonna slip stitch so that last round is nice and round. We're gonna leave kind of a medium length tail here so that it can make its way back to the center of the toy. We shall wrap our yarn over our hook and pull it through that last loop there to tie it off. Now you just want to take your towel and thread it onto your yarn needle. We're going to take our tail in whichever direction you're not kind of laced the flattest. We're going to find our way into the brim of the hat, and then we're going to weave through those rounds just to get to the inside. So now we can shorten that tail a little bit, just enough so we can tuck it in, and then that beginning tail, because it's got a little bit of length through the top of the hat, we can snip that one off too. We'll tuck all that in. And now we are going to pick up a stitch for the back loops there for that round where we turned for our brim. So just kind of finding the beginning. You're going in, and then we are going to grab some yarn. Just move all my tail scraps out of the way. And we're going to pull that through. I'm going to knot that on just to keep it as secure as possible, because the idea is to give this to kitties. You don't have to. It could just be a cute little decoration for you. But if you're giving it to a kitty cat, you want it to be as secure as possible so they don't get any of those little strings loose. So we're just tucking that tail inside. And now is a good time to add any catnip that you want to add. I would add catnip first, then our stuffing, and then we will continue on to finish this last little round here. Okay, stuffing is in. You probably found that there wasn't a whole lot of room for stuffing in there, which is nice because then you don't need a lot. So we have attached, we're going to chain 1, and then we are working all decreased stitches all the way around. So going in, we're going to wrap our yarn to pull up, we're going to go in, wrap our yarn to pull up, And we're just going to keep doing that all the way until we're back at the beginning. So if you wanted to do any other sort of decrease, absolutely you could. I find that where the stitches are and how tight they are at this point, this decrease just is a little easier on my hand. So whatever you like is fine with me. But this is how I'm going to do that. Wrap and pull through all 3 of those. Making sure as you go that your stuffing is kind of staying out of your way, staying inside of that toy. So going in, wrap to pull up a loop, going into the next stitch, pull up, and then go through all 3 of those. So keep going. When you get to the end, we'll meet back there and we will close up our toy together. That last decrease round is done. We're going to slip stitch to join into that very first stitch. And once we've done that, we are going to cut a little bit of a tail just so that we can use it to weave that hole closed. So once you've snipped that off, we're taking the tail, we're going to thread it onto our yarn needle. Nope, I lied. We're not going to thread it onto our yarn needle. Yeah, we got to tie it off first. We're going to wrap our yarn around, pull through that last loop. Okay. Sorry about that. Now we can thread it onto our yarn needle. And we are going to go into the very first stitch, out through the next one, and we shall repeat until we're back at the beginning. So you're going in and out the next stitch. And we're going to do that 2 more times. And once you get back to the beginning, we are going to pull on this thread and that will close that hole. So now the bottom of your hat is closed up. We'll grab one of those little beginning legs there, maybe right where you slip stitch, make a little loop. We're going to bring that tail through the loop. I'm going to pull it as tight as we can. And then that remaining tail is just going to go in and back out some part of the tip of the hat. Give it a little tension there, so when we snip it off, the remaining part of the tail disappears. And now our little witch hat is complete. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Bye.